Let's move on to the next topic of the panel, and we're going to talk about the current state of Spurs and their squad in the transfer window. So it's quite evident that Spurs still need to bring in numbers, potentially a striker after Harry Kane is gone, definitely a centre-back, and maybe even a winger and a midfielder. But the case is that Spurs need to sell quite a number of players before they even bring in one. So, James, do you think that we've left ourselves a bit too much work to do with only about 10 days left of the window?
Yeah, I do actually. I think definitely, and I think it's like, and we've got to sell about a player a day to even shape to the and like it's been like how many days? 8 days, 9 days without anything going on. It gets a bit nervy, and yeah, we have to do a hell of a lot, and we don't seem to be able to do it. I can't work out. I was trying to think this the other day. I can't work out how we just can't sell players. Is Lloris now turned down Lazio as well, or something? I don't know what's happened with that. But yeah,
there's rumors now saying that Lloris might even stay. I was like, how it blows my mind.
Yeah, no, I don't get that at all. And especially in the Postecoglou era, I don't understand. Yeah, we have got a hell of a lot of work to do, and I'd like to see some of that Kane money being spent. And I hope to God, like I suppose every Spurs fan, it wasn't spent before. I don't think it was. I think we will see some incomings, but how late are we going to leave it again? Do you know what I mean? Is it Harry Redknapp in the car outside Sky Sports late again? You know? It's leaving.
Maybe an offer from a present. Maybe Van der Vaart will come out of retirement and join us again.
Mate, if one position I'd want is probably a winger. I'd like to see a winger come in, to be honest with you. But then I love Solomon. I do. Really, I love Solomon. I think he's going to be really good in the way that Postecoglou plays. But I'd like to see a winger, and I'd like to see Gift Orban, to be honest. So I haven't heard too much about him before. I'm just going to be completely honest until I saw Spurs were interested. But what I've seen is really good. I know about him scoring. Did he score a really fast hat trick? I remember hearing his name ages. I think he scored a really fast.
In the Conference League.
Oh, was it? Was it really?
I think it was. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. And I remember hearing his name.
Role in UEFA competition or in Conference League. I mean, Conference League history is not exactly hard to beat because it was only started last year. But
exactly,
but look, I've gone on record to say about Gift Orban loads of times now how I'd love to have him in. But what's your feeling about the centre back situation?
Loving Van der Ven, to be honest with you. He's giving me just Vertonghen vibes, if I'm honest, and I'm really loving that. It's been such a long time before we've had a centre-back pairing that we can look at, and Brian's not going to drop to his knees when he is. It's just such a long time, and yeah, and I'm loving that. That would be the most important signing probably for the window for me. But if there's an injury there, it's like, what do we do there? So yeah, I guess I haven't really thought about it until I started talking to you guys just now. That although I do want a winger. Yeah, it's strength in depth. Not having the European football will take less strain off the squad, but we're one injury away from some big problems.
Absolutely spot on. Brian, I think I know what your answer is going to be, but have Spurs left themselves too much work to do this window?
Yes. Next question. I haven't got my lawyer here. No, listen. They've done it once again. Listen, we knew this was going to happen, but it's not even that. You were telling me yesterday, Ben, about the video you did about the amount of players we need to get out as well. It's a huge problem. And you mentioned Hugo Lloris. If he's rejecting Lazio, why are we being held to ransom here? He wants to go for new opportunities. We're still here. If he stays, he's been demoted from club captain, not even vice captain. Off you go. You're not going to play. It don't sound right to me. For me, he's won it, and I don't mean rip it up in a bad way. I mean, he's given us wonderful service, has stayed when bigger clubs have come in for him or rumoured to come in for him, hasn't won anything domestically. Let him go. Don't let him be held to ransom. We shouldn't be like, oh, you rejected Lazio? Oh, we'll keep you here for a bit longer then. Off you go. The outcome, the outgoings, it's been awful. It's been awful getting rid of them. And
Brian,
yeah.
I was having this conversation with Simeon earlier today. Do you think that if Lloris does end up staying, and obviously, like you're saying, he's been stripped of the well, not stripped, but the captaincy's been handed over.
Yeah.
Everyone thought he was leaving. Do you think that can cause a problem within the squad?
Yeah, I do. I do. I mean, you got to remember, we're trying to have a complete change of everything at this club, and Ange has done his part in doing it on the pitch, in the training ground. You can see the difference in the squad we have. And if you're having a complete rebrand, I don't see what he does. He hasn't. Foster's going to be the second goalkeeper from what you'd imagine. I can't see the reason wanting to be a second keeper. Then he's going to, I don't know him well enough to say, oh, he's going to cause a problem. But we know what we've had at Spurs with people that haven't got game time. It starts happening. And we've got this problem with a load of players that have been bought poorly. And if we do need to get these out, and we've had all window, what are we now? 7 days, 8 days as we speak away from.
8 days, yeah.
So we need to get, so we've got 8 days. We've got 8 days to try and get, let's say, at least 5, if not more, players out. Then you've got to bring them in, and it's who, what, where, when. So yeah, this club once again has done it. Don't get me wrong, the players we brought in, well done, very good. They have been good additions. I'm happy with all the signings. Doesn't mean I should be happy with the window. We need more both out and in, and we've left it too late again.
Well, James was saying like a striker, winger, and a centre back potentially. Are you looking for the same numbers, or would you like to see even more come in than that?
Centre back for me is number one, like in priority for me, because we need that strength in depth. I do want to see a striker there. Maybe not so much. See, we're talking Brennan Johnson, obviously, and that if we sign him as a winger, that means Son to me is moving inside, and we'll see what happens with Richardson. But for me, it's a striker. If we can, I can only see us signing 2 at tops. And for me, it has to be a striker and a centre back.
Yeah, it's looking that way, to be honest. I mean, for me, I think like a centre-back and a hybrid of a winger or a striker, whether it be Gift Orban, who can also play on the wing, Brennan Johnson, who's a winger who can also play up front, and plus a centre-back as well. But Sim, what are you feeling on this one?
Yeah, I think 100% we've left ourselves way too much to do in the last 8 days, because our squad size is currently 30 players, and we can have a maximum of 25 in the squad. So that means with that 5 players have to go just to meet the bare minimum, or just to meet the squad without leaving anyone out of the squad. We have to sell 5 players before the end of the window just to meet that. Then you add on to the fact we want to sign players. That means we have to sell 5, and then after that, however many players we want to sign, we need to sell that amount. So if we want to sign 2 players, we need to sell 5 plus another 2 to fit those extra 2 in. And to get that all done in the next 8 days, I think is going to be nigh on impossible, I reckon, unless the only way I see us doing it is if Tottenham make some tough decisions and start cancelling some contracts. And it doesn't mean we cancel contracts right now, but it means if we're committed to signing players and giving Ange the tools in the squad, and we don't want to leave them short, we sign them, and then at the end of the window, or maybe on deadline day, we see who's still here. And if there are players still here who just aren't going to be involved in the squad, you just have to cancel their contract. I think that's the tough decision we have to make if this is going to work. Otherwise, it's going to be extremely difficult for us to sign any players, let alone even one. If technically, if Tottenham are going through this kind of not system, but like way of thinking, that we have to trimline the squad first before we bring anyone in to meet the squad numbers, then technically, if we want to sign 1 player, we need to sell 6. Now, how long it takes Tottenham to negotiate these deals, get clubs to buy their players, to get 6 players out, that includes as well. We've got problems with homegrown at the moment because we've got 10 homegrown players in the squad, but a lot of them are surplus to requirements at the moment. People
3 of them are goalkeepers.
3 of them are goalkeepers. We've got Jed Spence, we've got Ryan Sessegnon, Jaffa Tanganga, 3 players there who are surplus to requirements who are homegrown. So if their futures aren't going to be here by the end of the window, that means we do have to sign a homegrown player to meet the quotas. So there's a lot of moving parts. It's very complicated for Tottenham right now, but I don't understand why they've left it for 8 days in the window to start addressing these issues. I understand it's been a very complicated summer with a new manager and a complete rebuild, and just probably wanted to take all the squad to overseas just to take a look at them, so he knows who he can trust and who he wants in his squad and who he doesn't. And there have been benefits of that because people like Lo Celso have come back into the fold where maybe he wouldn't have been involved if it wasn't for that. So there are some benefits, but it's meant that we're now in this situation where we're 8 days before the end of the window, and I think we don't know where we stand in terms of signings. Who's gonna be? It probably causes a lot of uncertainty in the squad as well, and it probably doesn't help Ange when it comes to who we can rely on and who we can't, because he doesn't want to completely, like, he's probably telling people like not even Sanchez or Dyer, like, he doesn't really want them, but come the end of the window, he might have to rely on them because they might still be here because we haven't got rid of them. So it's a very tricky situation. I really hope that we get as many players out the door as possible that Ange doesn't want, and so we can still fit in a couple of signings. If I was Tottenham right now, I would just not even bother. I mean, obviously try and get them out, but I wouldn't even be focusing on that, but focus on getting your targets. And then if there are players still here who you really can't get rid of for love nor money, you just cancel their contract and you move on from it, and you have a big reset, a bit like Arsenal did not so long ago with a few of their players. They just had a hard reset. They bit the bullet, and they lost money on a lot of deals, but at the end of the day, it's in the best interest of the long-term vision of the club and the manager. And that's what we got to do if we're serious about this rebuild. I don't want to sit here come September 1st and Dyer still in the squad and Sanchez. I mean, Sanchez, I guess, is not as bad, but there are so many players who we just know we are not really going to fit what we want to do, and I don't want to be hamstrung by being forced to play them because of injuries and things like that. So we have left ourselves so much to do. We're talking about 10, 11 deals here, separate deals that we have left to do in 8 days. So there's going to be days where there's going to be multiple deals handing out. Maybe you can do buy one, get one free. Maybe it's the end of the Apprentice. As the closer it gets to the dedeadline, and just giving them away. 50p, 1p.
It's like a cash and carry.
Cash and carry, whatever.
A giveaway.
A wholesale.
I just want to add one thing
doing
to
some
that.
deals.
Simon, I just want to add one thing, and I think you'll know more about this than me for precisely. I think a lot of the reason, not just for Tottenham, but obviously we care about Tottenham solely. I think why these contracts aren't being ripped up as well. From what I'm understanding, the Saudi Arabia window is open for about another 3 weeks after ours.
Oh.
So you can literally, if our window closes, it might benefit us getting them out for some money from there. It don't benefit us in being able to go and reinvest that money or whatever we get from it. But I think that's got a huge reason with not just Tottenham, but all Premier League clubs, why they aren't doing that as much, because that window is open a little bit longer than ours.
Tell me why the hell all these Saudi clubs are shopping everywhere apart from Tottenham. What is going on here?
I say nothing.
But in terms of the situation I was talking about before, the goalkeepers, I mean, have you ever come across a club that have 5 goalkeepers but only 2 strikers? And one of those strikers, Ange said he ain't even going to play till second half of the season. I mean, where is this? What has happened with this planning of this window?
Ange is so good. He'll have one of them goalkeepers up front for us or something.
He'll probably be top goal scorer.
Yeah. But in terms of the players we're looking to sell, you got Lloris, Højbjerg, Sanchez, Reguilon, Ndombele, Tanganga, Spence, probably Sessegnon as well. Out of all those players, which of them do you think you'd be most comfortable with remaining at the end of the window if we can't get rid of them?
I'd say Sanchez is the only one, in my opinion.
Højbjerg?
Like you guys. Højbjerg as well, yeah. Højbjerg and Sanchez, in my opinion.
In fact, I think isn't Ndombele now the top earner at Tottenham?
Yeah,
you know what? I think you've actually got a good point there. I think he is.
That's
what I had to think about, isn't it?
Him out, you know what I mean? That is the brain in the thumbs there.
How did we get to a stage where Ndombele is our top earner?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Blows my mind, to be honest. Absolutely blows my mind.
Yeah, I think that's right, isn't it? I think he is.
Yeah, right. I think he's higher than Lloris.
Yeah,
and obviously Kane was the only one. I think that was ahead of him. Maybe Sonny, since he's got.
I think Sonny, I think, was about 10 grand less. For if we're to believe what the papers say and whatever we hear from the contracts. But yeah, that is a shocking stat. But it's not surprising, is it? The way that this planning and everything goes. He's got to be out that door.
Yeah, that's what I think.
I can only really see us bringing one player. To be honest, I can't see more than that.
In what position do you think, Sim? In what position?
I hope it's a centre back if we're going to only bring in one, because I think we got going forward. Hopefully, maybe we can address that in January. I think we got enough to go from now till January with the forward options. As much as I do think we need another one, I really do. But I think if we're going to let go of, I think if Tanganga is getting a lot of interest, I think we'll probably get rid of him at least on loan. I think one of Sanchez or Dyer will go. I'm hoping both, but I reckon only one of them will go. So if one of them does go, I reckon we bring in hopefully another centre back. And unfortunately, I think that'll be it. I think we're going to struggle. Like, I think Højbjerg is going to end up staying.
Yeah.
I think.
What's the Atletico Madrid thing then? Has that gone quiet?
Yeah, I think I can't see them buying him at the moment because they were selling Rodrigo de Paul to Saudi Arabia, and that's fallen through. So I think they needed that money to buy him. I reckon I've got a feeling Sanchez is going to go and Dyer is going to stay, and then I think Regulon and Ndombele, hopefully we find homes for them. So I see them leaving, but other than that, I just think everyone else is probably going to stay.
And what do you think about this situation with Valise?
No, go on, James.
And this situation with Valise, like, do you think that we won't even play him even in the cups? And what do you think they'll do?
Ange said that you're not even going to see him to the first half of the season at all. You're not going to see him kick a ball. So I think second half you might see a few cameos from the bench and stuff. But look, he's a 19-year-old kid coming from Argentina. You know, he needs time to adapt and adjust. So
have you boys seen much of it? Anything you could say to him? I've not really seen too much of it. No,
but we spoke to an Argentinian journalist, and he says he's a bit like Crouch, and he's a bit like who was the other one he said to him? He said Crouch and Hernan Crespo.
Crespo, yeah. Take that.
Couch potato.
Yeah, exactly. But look, I think we all know there's a lot of business left to do. If we do kind of go in with what we expect is going to happen with maybe just one more signing and that signing coming in the centre-back areas, what do you think we can achieve this season? How high up the table do you think we can finish, James?
Table-wise, it could be a little bit tricky, maybe top four. I mean, I'm loving how we're playing, but I think we could get 5 or 6, and I think 5th this season could maybe get us Champions League. Is that right? If the English teams do well in Europe or something?
Yeah.
I think we're still there. I think that's there. What's that? Sorry, mate?
I think it's pretty much nailed on that 5th is going to be Champions League.
I don't think that's without the realms. I mean, but what the bigger thing, in my opinion, is the way that we're playing with that non-fear shackles off. That's a cup team. That's how a cup team plays. So I think, for the first time in a long time, we've got a great shout at cups. Obviously, you've got to be lucky, haven't you, with who you get and home ties, away ties. But I think we've got a really good shout at a cup this year, not having Europe distractions. So yeah, league-wise, 5th or 6th, but I think we've got a real good shout for a cup.
Yeah, I'm with you, mate. 100%. Brian?
Which makes me buzz.
Yeah, I'm going 6th. I'm going 6th and a cup. And what we've got to remember as well with this squad, I know it comes in January, but we're going to lose Bissouma and Sarr to the AFCONs in January, which is massive. If this is the impact they're having now, if we're really in a run and we're up there, not having covered, all right, Bentancur will be back. We don't know if Højbjerg is here or not. Skip will be there, but yeah.
Brian, I believe if both players get to the final, they only miss, I think, 3 league games, which ain't too bad.
Ain't too bad, but then one of them's Man U at Old Trafford. One of them's at Old Trafford, and I can't remember. One of them's Wolves, so that's, I think, from what I remember. And I think the other one may be Brighton, or they're back for Brighton, whatever it is. That would have been the 4th game. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Listen, anything above 8th for me will be progress. The football we're playing is incredible for the 2 games that we've played in the Premier League. And I just think that other teams are strengthened bigger and are ready to compete more than us. This isn't because of Ange that I don't think we get top 4. I think it's other teams have spent bigger to sort their teams out. But anything above 6th, and I'll be delighted with what Ange has done.
I think the way he plays, though, we'll give him time as well, won't we? If he's playing this exciting football, the Tottenham fans will give him time. They won't be on his back for not finishing 4th if we're playing the way that we've seen so far.
Yeah, totally.
Let's hope the board won't as well.
Yeah.
For me, yeah. Look, if we only sign a centre back, and let's say given that we don't make any signings in January as well, I think 5th is probably our ceiling. I do think we could sneak 5th if we get lucky with injuries, if a lot of certain players stay fit. I do think we can sneak in that 5th position. We said that pre-season as well. Obviously, a cup, luck of the draw. We draw Man City away 3rd round, is what it is. What can you do? But hopefully, a good cup run as well, and a 5th place finish, I think, is probably our ceiling. If we can get some good signings through the door from now to the end of the window, while getting the required players out, then maybe that can change. But I think right now I can't see any higher than that.
Cup.
Yeah, look, that you never know with the cup. I think it's luck of the draw.
Nottingham. We're going to get a new song from James if we get to the cup final.
Oh, you bet. We're going to be on his case, 100%.
You're on mute, James.
That's the only reason I want us to win it. Is the I'm joking. Drag Aussie back out, man.
Yeah, exactly. You got to get him to do a new cameo and a new song. But look, I agree. I think 5th is the ceiling. But I'm looking at the other teams, the way they've started. I think we can get above Manchester United this year. They look a bit of a mess, to be honest, so far. Newcastle, I mean, they've looked brilliant, definitely in the first game. And they even stood up to Manchester City a little bit. So I think, you don't know how Champions League is going to affect them. I think Arsenal and Man City, for sure, are above us. Liverpool, I'd probably say, are above us as well. But I think anyone else is fair game, to be honest. Yeah. And I don't think we finish in the top 4. But I think 5th is doable this season. I really do.
And the good thing is, the expectations have come down a little bit as well, so the fans can get behind them. I think that's another big thing. We've been waiting for this for a long time. We've been subjected to this football that we've been watching for the last 2 years, and we're all together. I could feel this amazing energy in that stadium, and I think that's going to help us.
Yeah, totally.
It has been there for a while.
Yeah, 100%. Probably since the mid kind of Champions League run, since we had Pochettino. We got a comment here from Stuart Craven. He said, James, well, not that one. He said, James is the new Chaz and Dave. How about that, James?
Amazing. Wow, I'm nowhere near that. But thank you so much, Stuart.